This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Ladies and gentlemen of the podcast, today we have Mike Conti. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
So this is the first time we met is today.
Yeah.
Right?
Chatted a little bit, but yeah, first time.
Yeah. And you have quite the reputation in Group 1. You're a very lovable guy.
Thank you.
You feel that way?
I love Group 1, man. It's been a great journey.
Yeah. And for the people that don't know what we're talking about, you are in the same men's group as me, but you're in the leadership group 1 and I'm in leadership group 2.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So what attracted you to it?
I don't know, man. It was one of those things that was just kind of called to me, and I was kind of I'm retired, so just kind of looking for something to do, somewhere, kind of grow and that kind of stuff. And I didn't know what it really was. No, I don't think anyone really knew in the beginning. Yeah. And met with Jimmy and kind of just jumped in. Yeah. And it's been the best thing. So.
Did you have a friend introduce you to it, or did you know Jimmy before?
Nope, just Jimmy was online, saw Jimmy online, saw him putting this out, and filled out the application. And as crazy as it was, I was very short on my application. Yeah. And, you see Jimmy posting, I got 125 people for 50 spots. And I text him, I'm like, hey, I think I messed this up. He's like, oh, yeah, you did. And so I was one of the 3 guys he had to take to lunch for like the last spot.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up, of course, getting in. So I went
cool.
to lunch with him for about, Jimmy speed lunch, 15 minutes. And that was it. So
Did you know the other 2 guys that were going for the spot?
No.
Probably in my group. That's why I was kind of wondering. I don't know. Kind of funny.
Oh, if they don't meet the criteria, then they're not in. So
yeah. Well, let me think about that, because some guys were sharing over the weekend. There's a few guys that were like, I guess they were like, I was tempted to jump into Group 1, then I kind of pulled back, and they kind of got in Group 2. I didn't actually fill out a form or anything because I was friends with Jimmy before. Yeah. So I guess I got a little bit more of a red carpet treatment into the group, even though I initially told him no. Yeah. So I just initially told him no, and then I loved it, man. It's been such a, I don't know, like this, like the reason why my voice is cracky for the listeners out there is we just did our Ludus last week with the military, and we were screaming and doing all sorts of stuff, and so I'm a little hoarse today, but I don't know. It's just, when are you ever going to do this stuff in your normal life?
No, that's a great thing about it. I mean, the adventure part of it really kind of sung to me. I didn't know what else was going to be involved, if we're going to be doing, working on ourselves, just hanging out. Like, I didn't know. And honestly, it's been the best thing for myself, for my wife, for my family. Yeah. It's been a great growth. It's been 18 months. We've got a year left. And it's just been a great growth experience for me personally. And I've seen a lot of the guys in our group really, really grow. And we have a tight connection too, as I'm sure you do with the guys in your group. So
yeah. I'm even tied with a couple of guys in your group.
Yep. Same with me in your group. So yeah. I'm sure you've heard, Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hear your name all the time. You're one of the guys in the first group. There's probably 5 guys in the first group that you just hear their names all the time. Have you met this guy? Have you met this guy? And I'm like, and you're probably the first one that I actually hadn't met. And I was like, yeah, I'll meet Mike.
So I reached out to you. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, for me, is if I'm paying the price of a college education, I want to get something out of it. Yeah. With my accountability groups, with the guys in the group, I take them to lunch. I want to connect. I want to know more about them. I was at one of the guys, Jerem, his son's a baseball game this weekend. Another guy, Brad Wingett, was at his son's baseball game. I like going and hanging out with people and breaking bread and got dinner with a bunch of the guys tonight. So kind of like how you guys do. It's just a real good way to connect with other like-minded men.
Yeah. Did you connect with Luke Wren?
I did. Yeah. He'll be here tonight. That's who I'm doing dinner with tonight. So.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. I'm pretty close with Luke. We talk weekly, if not daily.
I'll tell you, I knew of him a little bit. He actually spoke to us this weekend.
Yeah, I saw.
So yeah, Jimmy he found out he was in town and was like, hey man, you want to come speak? The guy, I think someone pulled out or something. He just ended up working out perfectly, right? Yeah. And I didn't even know he was in the first group until he said something about it, right? Because he did not renew, right? He just did the first year. He didn't renew.
He's just too busy. So yeah, Jimmy met him in Fiji, I believe, at the Tony Robbins deal. And Luke's, he's just a powerful person. He's just great. I love having him in my life.
Yeah, he talked about his wrestling career. And it's funny when people talk like that, because you kind of look at him different. And then I realized he sat down after he spoke, and Dan Clark got up and spoke. And I went behind him and I was like, oh, dude, you have a massive back.
Like,
you can see how freaking tough that dude is. And he, I guess he lost a national championship to Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, I know nothing about that, but yeah.
Oh, you know, so Daniel Cormier was like probably considered one of the greatest college wrestlers of all time.
Got it.
Then went into the UFC and made tons of money, and now he's one of the main commentators. He's a big deal in that world. And it's funny, right? Because you look at Luke, right? It's like he could have won that championship, right? Potentially if he didn't wrestle against Daniel. And then, you know, it's interesting to see the trajectory of life and where that really is going to take you.
It's kind of how life works, right? Some, you know, you get lined up against someone who's better than you. And how do you take that? You know, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
You keep pushing yourself to go further or not, or do you quit?
Yeah.
So yeah, Luke's a powerhouse. Love listening to him speak. He's just great.
Yeah, he's fun.
So
we're kind of teasing. I'd actually like to get to know him better. I mean, we'll see what life comes in store, right? But he does a Tony Robbins thing where when he speaks, he goes, write this down, you know, write this down. And so, and everyone was very receptive to him, you know, but, you know, after he kind of spoke and the next morning, you know, we just kind of kept on joking with each other. It's like, hey, write this down. I'm going to give you something profound right now, you know, and kind of like just a little tease for the rest of the week. But no, he had an amazing speech to us. It was really on point. You know, I mean, they just speak from the heart, right? There's no agenda, and guys really, really like Luke. Yeah,
he's a good dude. I so much love for him, and yeah, he actually introduced me to Jesse Itzler, and yeah, so I've been was working with him on his ride across America, you know, and helping him out with that. So since I've raced across America, but yeah, Luke is, dude, he's a good dude.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so you're an ultra cyclist, right?
Yep.
Is that what your main hobby, you would say?
That's what my main hobby was. Yeah, I'm done with that now.
So, are you done?
I'm done with that, yeah.
How long did you do that for?
Long time. I was an ultra athlete for a while, for 12, 15 years.
Wow.
So
when you cycle across the United States, have you done it a few times or did you just do it once?
Just once. Well, so in 2015, I set the record from here to St. George solo, or here to Las Vegas solo. And then 2015, I went back out and I raced across the West, which is from Oceanside to Durango, Colorado, and I won that. And it kind of put me on the map. It's a 920-mile race. And then
is that a hard race, that one? Because it's uphill a lot, right?
Yes, it's a really hard race, yeah. Nonstop. These are nonstop races. So whoever sleeps the least, you know, the clock, when we leave Oceanside, it's running all the way till you get to Durango. So
how long did it take you to complete?
I think that one was 62 or 64 hours, something like that.
Oh, wow.
So 900 miles, yeah.
And how long did you sleep during it?
That race was no sleep breaks. It was just a couple of naps here and there. I think I might have had a 90-minute sleep break in there. Yeah. So then 2016 went for the Race Across America, and we got, my follow vehicle got hit by a semi and totaled in Alamos, Colorado. So 1,100 miles into the race. I had done all the hard part, getting ready for Kansas, for some recovery before we hit the East Coast, before we hit the Midwest and then the East Coast, and taken out of that race, and kind of went back, and it's kind of like reflecting on life. You know, went home dealing with insurance companies. My daughter was injured in the accident. She was in the follow vehicle and was hit by a semi doing 75 miles an hour, and our follow vehicle was doing 15. At night, we have a follow vehicle that follows behind me for safety. Yeah. So then ended up going back in 2018 with the best crew out there. I had pretty much everyone had a lot of experience with the Race Across America and crewing. Went across and top 5, top American, and then that was it. I was done. I was just so much time involved with it. I mean, it's 20 to 30 hours a week of training, and didn't want to do that anymore. So I had retired earlier that year in 2018. I sold my company. Someone came in and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so now it's just been family.
Yeah.
So we watched our last 2 kids get through high school. They're both freshmen. They're out. My daughter just finished her first year at the University of Utah. So we've been just spending time with family now. So I kind of put the ultra racing career to the end. But one of the things it taught me was where I can push my limits. You know, you were talking about that military thing. It's like, I can keep going. I know where my limits are, and I know how hard I can push the body.
Yeah.
So like in the Race Across America, we sleep 90 minutes a night is it. And you're pushing the body 20 hours a day. If you know Jesse Itzler, it was funny meeting him after the MW3 conference. Luke could hook that up. And it was interesting. We're in a room about this size, and there was like 8 or 9 guys, and Jesse's like, everyone, this dude is a badass. They're like, Jesse, whatever, blah, blah. He's like, no, you guys have no idea. He rode his bike across the country nonstop, very little stop, in 11 days. And they're like, what? We're racing. We have to finish in under 12 to be a finisher. So I know how hard I can push my body. I know where my limits are. I know what I'm capable of now. So, people talk about a Musogi, and that hardest day or that hardest week or hardest 2 weeks, that was definitely my Musogi in life, for sure.
So how did you, when you were learning how far to push your limits, I'm assuming it's a progression, right? You push past them and then you got to push past them again and again and again and again. What's that process like for you?
The process is exploring, right? Like, what do you eat? How do you deal with this issue? How do you deal? It's just kind of dealing with each and every problem. Hands falling asleep. Okay, let's solve that problem. Feet really don't feel comfortable in these shoes. Let's solve that. And when you race, like from here to St. George, it's 24 hours. So I think my record's 23 hours, 19 minutes. Off the bike, maybe 15 minutes at the most. So you're pedaling just nonstop, eating on the bike, pretty much everything you can on the bike. And we set up the digestion system so you're not having to get off and use the head. And then, you push a little further and you push a little further. I will say in the race across the West, I learned what hallucinations were. And that was probably pushed myself a little too far. Yeah. And the race across America, in those later races, we didn't go that far. I didn't go that deep. But I also knew that, when you're 6 days into a race, it's like, I really don't want to get on that saddle. So it's like, what is my why? Why do I want to do this? What am I trying to accomplish? And it's not for social media, likes or this or that. It's my dream and my goal. And that's kind of how I set it up. Is my goal is to finish. I'm going to finish no matter what. And I destroyed the body. I crushed the ulnar nerves in both hands, in both wrists and elbows. So I couldn't even use my hands for about 4 months afterwards.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah.
Have you recovered from that?
Oh, yeah. It's all recovered now. So, yeah, everything works now. But
so with the hallucination part, if you started to hallucinate, have you pushed too far? Or do some people just accept it?
Yeah, you're super exhausted. You think... I thought my crew was trying to sabotage because we were leading. I thought they were trying to get me to sleep, and I thought they were trying to sabotage me. I thought that, friggin' Dr. Seuss was in the bushes because the bushes looked like, animals. It's like, this was all natural hallucinations. This was like, let's push ourselves as hard as I could. And I had never pushed myself that hard before.
What's that like when you realize that you're hallucinating and your crew was actually there for you? Like, was that hard mentally?
I didn't realize it until I slept. Literally till they literally made me stop. I remember where we were for about 45 minutes and sleep. And then I was like, okay, I know you guys are on my side. It's okay. So it'd
be crazy being on that crew, right? You're just like, dude.
Nuts. Yeah, it was nuts. But in the race across America, I pushed myself so hard that I fell asleep on the bike while pedaling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So on that race, are you by yourself most of the time?
It's a solo race, so it's not a team. Yeah, so I have to pedal every single mile of the country, 3,069 miles across the country.
Can you see the competitors while you're racing, or do you guys end up being far enough apart?
Oh, we're so far apart. Yeah, we're hours. In the beginning, we're pretty close, and then we'll go as hard as we can. Like, my first sleep break's not for 600 miles. So I'll go from Oceanside, California into just before Flagstaff before I'll even try and sleep. So it's a long way. So it'll be a full 36 hours before I even try and get to sleep. And then kind of establish ourselves in the race. But everyone has a satellite tracker, so we can see where they are, how fast they're going, when they're stopping. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a science behind that. But at the end of the day, I'm racing myself. I'm racing my body. I'm racing what I can do.
Yeah. Do you even care where the other guys are?
Yeah. I'm competitive.
Yeah. I
want to be the top American. I had goals. Especially in 2016, after getting taken out, I had goals to come back, and I really worked even harder and set my body up and my mind up, because it's a mental game. The body's can only go so much. The brain, your mind takes you even further. So it turns into a mental game, kind of like how you talked. A lot of guys break broke over the weekend because of mental. It's not physical. You can keep pushing your body. It becomes a mental game, and that's hard. Same thing with life. Life is a mental game where, you wake up in the morning, you get to choose whether you're happy or sad.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I've been relaying my weekend, to my wife and kids, and funny enough, my kids didn't care all that much. I thought they'd kind of care a little bit more.
Yeah, they don't.
I showed them some videos and pictures. They're like, "Oh, cool, Dad."
That was fun.
Like,
yeah,
cool. Okay. And then some of my employees this morning, and it was kind of funny seeing them. They're very interested in what happened. But then they get, I'm like, "Yeah, you guys want to do this? Should we pay for this?" And they're just like, "I don't know, man." And I'm like, I kind of was thinking about that, and I look back, and I'm like, I'd rather have done this than just sit at home.
It's crazy. I mean, hey, that's how life works. People take the easy way, right? I retired at 46. People are like, "Oh, you got lucky." Really? I designed my life this way. Yeah. I reverse engineered my life. I knew by 50, I did not want to be working. I knew by 50, my daughter was graduating high school.
Yeah.
My lease was up on my store purposely last October when she turned 18 just before.
Yeah.
People were like, "Well, what were you going to do?" "I'm going to retire. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do it while I'm young."
Yeah.
And people are, I'm 51 now, so I retired a little bit earlier than I thought. But it's like racing. I knew I was going to finish. Just didn't know what my time was or what my place was, but I was getting to that finish line.
I love that. When I turned 40, I committed to my wife that I would stop operating businesses by 50.
Yeah.
And that timeline's going to come way faster than that. It's almost like once I put it in my head that I'm going to stop operating, it's like I could do this a lot quicker if I prep it.
But it's a goal, right? We talk about it in our men's group, right? Yeah. We set goals. Jimmy does it every year at the end of the year. Not a lot of people do that. And then they come to me and they're like, "Well, how did you retire?" I'm like, "What are your goals this year? What are your goals for 5 years?" "Well, I don't know." I'm like, "Dude, you need to sit down and spend a lot of time." Yeah. My goals are lined out. They're lined out with my wife. I work with my daughter. I'm taking her to Italy tomorrow. We're heading, taking her to study abroad because that's what she wants to do. This is what her schedule is. She knows that she's going to graduate with, she's in the business school at the University of Utah with finance with an emphasis in real estate. She's like, "Dad, everyone makes money in real estate." I'm like, "You can, or you can win and lose. But if you play it for the long term, and you invest right, yeah, you'll make money." "Dad, that's what I want to do." "Okay, great. Let's do it." Yeah. And she sets goals, right? But I think you're kind of lost if you don't have goals or a direction. You're just, I get my paycheck, I pay everyone, I have nothing left, and that's how my life's going to be.
Right.
Or my wife and I, we have a bucket list trip every single year. Like last year we were 17 days in Europe. We saw 9 different countries. Like that's what we love doing. That's why we kind of retired. Yeah,
we're the same way. Yeah. I want to see the world, and I don't want to see it Motel 6 style. I want to see it Hyatt style. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be crazy about it, but it's like, yeah, you want to go see all these places and experience stuff. And I love that. Have you guys done Bali yet?
No, we're going to do that next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We've done like Bora Bora, Maldives, like all the stuff that she wanted to do.
Did you do the huts over the water?
Yeah, of course.
Is that worth it?
Yeah. Overwater bungalows. Yeah. That's her favorite thing. She's from Hawaii. So I get her in a bikini in the sun and she's as happy as can be, right? Like that is her happy place. Yeah. It's either that or with the grandbabies. So we have three grandkids. So with the grandbabies or on the beach, that's where she's happy with.
Where's all the grandbabies at?
In Bountiful. So that's why we moved from Park City down to Bountiful to be closer to the kids and the grandkids. So we're trying to keep everyone kind of corralled there. Right. The 2 youngest are at school. But the 3 older ones are right there. So it kind of works out. We're kind of trying to keep them together. Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts. So
tell me about your business that you sold. I know it was in the furniture world, right?
So I own a company called Mountain Timber Furnishings. We were up next to Walmart, so largest furniture store up in Park City. Had it for 27 years before I had a client buy me out. It was a great life, great living. Allowed me the opportunity to travel and do stuff and have flexibility. But I was still there. I mean, if I was in town, it was 6 days a week. I was there Monday through Saturday. We were closed on Sunday. I saw the ups and downs of 08, 09. We had 4 stores at one point with a big distribution center, then closed everything down back to 1 store during that whole time. So I know what it's like to have a lot, lose a lot, get a lot back. And that's why when when someone came in and offered to buy the business, I was like, yeah, this kind of looks good. I can make this work.
Did you market the business when you went to sell it?
Nope. Someone came in on a Saturday morning and put a check on my desk.
Really?
Told me to leave.
Local or?
Yeah, it was one of my clients.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was one of my clients that I work with that built a lot of spec homes and stuff.
Did they secretly interview you about the business over the years, or did they just?
No, but they'd been my clients. I'm pretty open about it because I know no one can do what I was doing. Because when in the furniture business, it's kind of like the car business. You tie up the vendors. Right. So you have a couch manufacturer. You tie them up. And I had all the best manufacturers up there. They were tied up with me. You could come in and try and take them away, and they wouldn't go with you. Right. Because I guaranteed them business, and so I had a pretty good lock on the market up there for the quality vendors that I wanted. So it worked out pretty well. So they learned that they couldn't do that, and they couldn't get the lease rate that I was getting on the size of space. We had 12,000 square feet, which is hard to get. Furniture is all about space, and being able to get affordable space without looking like a warehouse. Right. Anyone can do warehouse space, but this is, retail space. And we're right next to Walmart.
It's still there?
It's still there. They're still in business. So.
Okay, cool. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah.
Are they doing well?
I don't know.
So you literally out the door.
2 weeks later, I was gone. I fulfilled my 1 month that they wanted me, and they kind of changed things, changed the name, did a bunch of things different. They don't call me, and I don't ask. Nice. I drive the car out of the front windshield, man. I don't look back. I'm gone. Yeah. I fulfilled my contract to what they needed, and so on and so forth. So
see, that's interesting, right? Because a lot of business transactions, when you exit, I've been involved in a few, right? They want the owners, especially if you've established a long business like you did, 27 years, they want you to stay on for a long time, generally 2 years.
Yeah. They took my staff. They took everything. So they knew. They kind of wanted, they wanted to do their own thing, right or wrong. Yeah. So whatever works for them. So they're kind of doing that. So
did you ever have a moment where you're like, I wish I still had it? Or
it's funny during COVID, because you got to remember it. So I sold at 18. Yeah. So 19 comes along, and I had a 3-year non-compete. And then you have COVID, right? My wife and I are sitting at home. She's like, "Aren't you glad we don't have that business?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I wouldn't know what to do," because Summit County up there in Park City was really Nazi-like, closing down the city, and second homeowners, you can't come to town, and businesses you need to shut down if you're not essential. Yeah. And, Great Harvest, the guy Joe, man, I felt bad for him. That their Walmart's open, because they sell groceries, but he can't be open because he sells bread. It's like, what? Since he's a small business, I felt bad for what they were doing and that whole stuff, and I won't get political on that, but I was kind of glad I wouldn't. And then when 3 years came up, my wife's like, you want to get back in the furniture business? I'm like, no. I'm like, you can do design out of the house. I'll keep you with an office, but I want nothing to do with it. Yeah. But of course, she suckers me in, and I kind of help her out with certain things. And
for sure.
And I still do window treatments for Hunter Douglas, just so I can have an S corporation and write-offs. But other than that, we're pretty relaxed and pretty mobile, and can travel and stuff like that now. So
do you feel, let me ask you this. So the money that you made, you obviously invested it. Mm-hmm. What was your kind of allocation on investments? We've been talking a lot about that in our men's group.
Yeah, you guys are, I'm sure. Well, I mean, everyone wants, passive income is what they say. So for us, we had to do a lot of reallocating of stuff. We sold the big house up in Park City. And, we're building a house right now. And our house, I don't believe in mortgages. So some people might believe in it and leverage and all that stuff. So we're super conservative. I've never had a car payment, no credit card payments, no nothing like that. We preach that to our kids. Like, car payment okay, and a mortgage payment okay, but no credit card debt, right? So if you have credit card debt, I don't even know why people would even talk about investing. It's kind of an interesting thing. Yeah. So right now we're probably 60% real estate, and 70% real estate, and the rest in the market.
Stocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got some other investments as far as I'm doing stuff with Luke with senior living. So building out assisted living places. So, but shorter, 18 to 24 months. I've done hard money loans.
Are those real estate kind of flip things, or are you guys building the business around it?
They'll build the business around it, but they try and get rid of the property and the business before 18 to 24 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, once the ground goes, then we put our money in and then get paid off 18 to 24 months. So, but yeah, basically real estate is what I like because you can leverage it. So now investments I'll leverage.
Yeah.
So all my real estate, like in Texas, I've got rental units in College Station. I'll leverage those. And it's great because, so I'm pretty conservative again with that. So I do 20% down with a 20-year amortization. So if it cash flows, I'll buy it. And, then I'm looking at, let's say it appreciates at 3%. Well, 20% down, put $200,000 down on $1 million, I'm making $30,000. That $200,000 in the stock market's making $20,000. So I'm already ahead there. Plus I get principal reduction. I've got depreciation. So I try not to pay taxes legally, right? With depreciation. So I've learned a lot that the real estate's kind of where it's at, as long as you're making smart moves.
Have you done it by yourself, or do you have some people that do it for you?
So in every area that I go to, we'll try and find someone. So right now I'm in College Station with a buddy of mine, and that's kind of where I got a lot of stuff. I can't make anything work here in Utah, just with my super conservative. I don't want to do 30-year amortization. I want nothing on my personal credit, so we're through LLCs and pretty much trying to protect. It's interesting. When you exit your company, you're going to be a steward of this asset. And this asset has to get you through the rest of your life. You don't want to make mistakes. And so everything I do is like, hey, what is my risk? Well, my 3% risk, 10% risk, crazy risk? Like some stocks I have, they're like crazy risks. Like a Mullen electric car company, right? I've got a couple 100,000 shares of that. And it's like, I know it's a total risk. Black Rifle Coffee, buddy of mine, and I knew it was a risk when I invested in it. So I know there's that high risk, but when it comes to real estate and those, my passive income or cash flowing income, I'm very conservative. Yeah. But when you don't have a mortgage, you don't have a car payment, life becomes pretty simple.
Yeah, you can be risk averse, right? Is the way to put it.
I don't need to make money.
Yeah. On your stock portfolio, do you have any stocks you bought for the dividend?
Yeah, I've got a lot of those right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've got a lot of financial stuff. Even my S&P 500 ETF, those pay pretty good dividends. Yeah. So
I'm a big stock guy. That's what I first started investing in when I was 21, home from my LDS mission.
Yeah.
So I've pretty much built a dividend paying portfolio.
And it's great.
With the velocity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great because it's crazy. Try and go get a mortgage when you don't have a job.
Right.
It's almost impossible. That's why it's easy when my LLCs, because I can show how, property values and rental income and stuff like that. That's easy when I'm doing my investment stuff. But when personally, they're like, we're not giving you a more, how are you going to pay it back? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I have 10 times what this house costs in investments. Well, that could be gone tomorrow. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I've never understood the 30% reduction in stock value when you go to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
You're like, my Verizon stock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tesla, maybe.
So,
because Elon says one thing and it drops.
Yeah, he goes and smokes on Joe Rogan's podcast, right?
Yeah,
and he had like a 5% correction.
Yeah, 420. He even goes out there and says, I don't know why people buy my stock. It's overpriced. It's like, Jesus, shut up. Or at least Apple and stuff like that. It's pretty consistent. Microsoft. I mean, the good ones that I have. So
it's kind of fun. I've built stock portfolios for guys over the years, even one girl. And I always start off with, I'm like, I'm going to suggest some ETFs so you can kind of protect your money while you watch it, right? And then the rest of it's like, you pick the stock. Like, what's a company you like? What's something you use all the time? A lot of people grab Apple, right? Of
course.
What they really should do is grab Microsoft. If people actually realize how much Microsoft software they use, they'd be blown away.
Yeah.
But, but then you throw it in there, right? And you just say, hey, watch it. If it goes up, figure out why. If it goes down, figure out why. They'll teach you how to invest. Dude,
my daughter and I, it's interesting. We talk about family at some point, I'm sure, but everyone's in the men's group. It's kind of like, family super important, right? Well, like I date my daughter, right? Like she's 18 now. So we have a 50-50 relationship, whether she wants to hang out with me or I want to hang out with her, right? So once a week we have daddy-daughter date night, whatever you want to call it. And it's awesome. But we talk about her stock portfolio. She's got one, all of her college money sitting in it. Yeah. We didn't do any of this super secure stuff. We just, hey, what do you want? I want Lululemon. Okay, we'll buy Lululemon. Nike, Dutch Bros, Starbucks. Apple's a big part of hers. It's probably 40% of her portfolio. Yeah. But it's great for her because she's like, Dad, Nike sucks. Like, yep, they're not really performing. This is what's it. But Dad, Apple's like soaring. I'm like, yeah, they keep making money every quarter. Let's go through. Let's figure this out. And I think it's great for a kid to really understand what's involved with certain companies.
When did you start doing that?
For her?
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
But involving her, I would say she was probably a freshman when I said, this is how much you have. And kind of like, hey, if you get scholarships, this money will pass on to you. And of course, she got scholarships, so we don't have to pull out of her college account the money for her college account.
Should you do 529 or did you just do brokerage?
UTMA, UGMA, whatever it is?
Oh, I haven't heard of that product.
Yeah. So It's under her social security number, but we can move money around.
Yeah.
But if while she's under 18, anything that she makes dividend wise, I get taxed on.
Oh.
It's fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So I've set up brokerage accounts for all my kids.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, the UTMA accounts, I like them. It works out pretty well for us.
How can you do that versus just a normal brokerage?
I don't know. I talked to my accountant and he said that was the way to go.
We'll do it that way.
I don't know what I think my brain can only handle so much as far as like all these laws and they're always changing and you know how that goes. It's like crazy.
Yeah. It was funny because I'm, some people will call it arrogant, but I just always do this stuff myself, right? Because every time I've involved a broker, especially in the stock world, right? I just feel like they dumb your portfolios down, right?
They do, yeah.
So, but I've always just like a 529 plan to me, like you know what that is, right? That's the college thing. Yep. I mean, it makes no sense.
No,
right? Why lock your money up?
Yeah, and it's just the restrictions on it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like just in a brokerage account, and don't sell the stock.
Yeah,
you know. One thing I've learned, so, you know, I've been doing it now 41, so I've been doing it for 20 years. And it was kind of funny to me the first 10 years, right? Like my friends would be like, what are you doing? You know, blah, blah, blah. Like it's barely grown, you know, because I'd kind of give them numbers. Like, oh, I'm excited. I own this stuff, right? And then like the last 10 years, a lot of the guys are like, holy shit, you know, like, how'd you grow this thing? It's like time, you know? And
that's the one thing most people don't get is that every 7 years, your money should double, right? Yeah. So depending on what you're doing, and it's actually every 4 years in real estate because of the way you leverage it, you know, your cash on cash leverage. And people don't understand that, and I told the kids, I said, Ava's got X amount of dollars. I'm like, this will be worth $4 million if you don't touch it when you retire at 62. How is that possible? And you go through and you get a compound calculator out and you show, okay, it doubles here. That's not a big deal. Doubles here. That's not a big deal. Oh, but 55 to 62, 2 million doubles to 4.
Yeah.
And if you don't touch it till you're 69, now you got 8.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
It's huge.
Now, if you try at 55 to go put $100,000 in, at 62, you're only going to have 200.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's what the great thing about the young kids in the men's group. I wish I would have had the men's group back then, you know, to talking to people who are in my shoes or your shoes or, you know, that are successful and had exits. And, you know, we have a lot of guys in our group like that to say, hey, you know, now is when you start saving.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. You think about it. It's like, oh, that $1,000 TV you bought. Would you rather have that $1,000 TV or when you retire, have 20,000? Well, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it does, actually. I promise you it does. Like as much as you can bank now is less than you have to bank later in life.
I just had this conversation last summer, so I bought a boat.
Yeah. Right? The worst investment out there.
Well, mine's not bad. Well, that's not true.
I have one. I have one, so don't.
Yeah. So my cousin and I and a friend, we bought a houseboat, a weekend houseboat, right? Before we even owned boats. And it was like, oh, crap. And we bought it, it was a new build, right? So it was being built for the following year. And then our week's in September. And so we bought it like in October. So we're like, oh, okay, I got plenty of time. I'll get a boat. This is like 2021.
During
everything went crazy. Yeah. And so I started visiting boat places, you know, like Aeronautique and Malibu and whatever, right? Yeah. All these places. And I'm like, these things are $200,000
for a piece of plastic with an engine.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, this is insane. And I'm like, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And like, yeah, I have the money, but, and then I'm like, well, what does this one do versus this one? I mean, I'm like, oh, look, this one will give you 3 inches more wake. And I'm like, so what? I mean, it means nothing, you know? And so I ended up buying a Aeronautique.
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah.
I think it cost me $35,000.
Perfect.
And I also thought too, I'm a guy that takes care of my stuff too, right? Like my cars are always clean, the house is always clean, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I will lose my mind if a friend or my wife bashes a $200,000 boat into a dock. But if I take my $35,000 one, you can almost sink it. I might not be that mad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
that's what we did. We went down and looked at them too. You know, $250, $200 for a boat, and we ended up buying the knockoff Taiga, which is ATX.
Yeah.
You know, it was like $80,000, which was still a lot, but it checked all the boxes for us. And I mean, we put 120 to 150 hours a year on it, so we're using it all.
Oh, that's
the time,
good.
You know, but
I'm throwing like 2 weeks of Lake Powell on it.
That's there you go. Yeah. But that's the thing is always people don't understand that money being invested, you know, at a young age is worth a lot more. That big diesel truck you're driving around that you don't need, you don't even tow anything with. It's like, you know, we try and preach that with the kids, you know, we just really preach that with the kids as being responsible and setting themselves up for the future.
Yeah.
And my daughter really gets it. She's the youngest. The oldest works for Fidelis, so he gets it. But yeah, my daughter's she asks a lot of questions. I'm super open about it. I don't think, you know, when I was being raised, we never talked about money. We never talked about what a mortgage payment was. Yeah. Now we go to sell our house and all the kids know. They're like, oh my God, you're selling the house for this amount? It's like, hey, whoa, guys, this is mine. This is not yours. And let me explain to you how it goes. And it's a great opportunity to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, this is what it's like when you own a home and you take care of it. Like you were saying, taking care of your cars in your home. Yeah. We painted the house. Everything was always redone, remodeled. We didn't just let it go to hell and then try and sell it for top dollar. It went top dollar and set a record because we took care of it. And we put the nicest stuff in to begin with. Yeah. And then you work it backwards with the kids. I'm like, check this out. This guy paid me $1.5 million extra on top of my mortgage payments to live in this house. So I lived here for free.
Yeah.
They're like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, all right, let me show you again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Really? Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. You know, we were in a booming market of Park City, blah, 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 blah. So it's a little different, you know, and bought in 20 years ago, built a house.
Yeah. But you also know that market though, right?
Yeah.
So when you've been in the game for so long and you have the height of the market hit and you're like, man, this is the time.
It was the time. Yeah. It's like, hey, you know, when, you know, your stock gets to nice, you know, you're at a profit. Like, you know, what does Warren Buffett say? Whenever you sell for a profit, there's nothing wrong with that or something like that. There's nothing wrong with selling at a profit. Yeah. We knew, and we wanted to be close to the kids. We didn't need a big 6,000 square foot house on a golf course, heated driveway. I mean, it was great, but it didn't serve me.
Yeah.
Ego wise. Yeah. Great. Oh, this is awesome. But actually I didn't even really notice much of anything until we left and we're trying to buy a house, you know, and it's like, can I get Pella windows, wood windows? Oh no, I'm gonna have to build this. Like if I want nice finishes again, I'm gonna have to build again. Yeah. So
when you moved to Bluffdale, did you guys buy it or did you rent?
So we were in Bountiful right now. So what I did,
you're building, right?
We're building right now one house. We bought a house 2 years ago, and then I told Heidi, I'm like, all right, here's how this is gonna go. I'm gonna tear this thing apart. And I'm gonna rebuild it myself because I want to learn all these things. I'm retired, right? I got nothing but time. So I learned how to do tile, learned how to do wood floors, learned how to install kitchen cabinets, learned all these things I've always wanted to learn. Yeah. And it helps with buying flips and stuff like that. So now I know what asbestos tile looks like. You know, I know what asbestos ceiling tiles looks like. I know what asbestos tape looks like. You know, I know what a good furnace, bad furnace. I learned a lot. And I learned I don't like drywall. I learned... you know, framing is an art. You know, you better get that stuff straight. Yeah. Which helped me with our new builder. I learned that he couldn't build anything straight or level or plumb. So yeah,
seriously, that's a big deal when you build a house,
dude. Yeah, we've been going through chaos with the house we're in. It's funny. Poor Jerem in my men's group. He's a builder, and I'm like, hey, is this right? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, I didn't think so. The floor's not supposed to slope 1.5 inches, right? No, they missed this. And it's funny. The builder's like, we've never had this issue in 30 years until you come along. I'm like, I'm not building the house. You're building this. It's not I'm probably just catching it. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, we did that. So that's the house we live in right now, and then we're building another house that's taken just a little bit longer than we thought. So hopefully another 90 days we'll be in, and it's it'll be the house, probably our final house for, you know, it's a great view in Bountiful, and we'll just sell or rent the house out.
The house is close.
They're within 10 minutes of each other. Yeah. Which is bad news for my builder because I'm up there all the time.
Do your morning walk over there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm like there all the time. I love construction. I love it. That's why it was fun doing the house that we're in now. So, and overdid things, the wife goes crazy with her design style. So, but it's awesome. We love it. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Jerem lives 2 houses away from me.
Oh, really? Got it.
Yeah, we're on the same street. Like literally, there's basically a house in between us.
Yep.
And so him and I have talked a lot. And then one of my contracting companies, we do athletic equipment.
Yep.
So we're in big high-end houses all the time.
Yep.
And it's interesting. I actually love going to them because I love walking through them and just seeing like the design / how they built it / it's interesting. Building materials is really interesting, right? Because nowadays you can actually buy bamboo stuff that looks exactly like marble, right? Yeah. But you're, I don't know, a tenth of the cost. I don't know. It's super cheap. And it's interesting to see homes that are built with like the super most expensive high-end things, the middle, and then the low end. Yeah. Seeing how it all kind of flows together.
Yeah. There's ways to cut corners. I mean, it's, being in the furniture business, we knew where you could cut corners and where you couldn't. Yeah. It's like, hey, let's start at the master bedroom, dining room and living room. Those are the most important things. Then we'll work from the budget backwards from there. Yeah. Let's get those out of the way and stuff like that. But yeah, building, I always like walking through and going, what were they thinking? What is this room for? Yeah. Like the house that we're building right now is like every room works perfect. It doesn't have one of these, I don't know what you call it, the entry room with the Mormon entry room. We don't have one of those. We don't have a huge cold cellar. We don't have a waste. We don't have like a formal dining room, which, no one ever uses really, or we don't use it, I should say. So it's just like perfect for us.
No, I love that. So we, is it a Rambler?
No, it's a basement with 2 stories actually.
Oh, wow.
So the lots are we're right on the edge like of the cliff. So we had to back it off so we could get a pool. So we had to go up rather than more of a Rambler.
Gotcha.
We live in a Rambler now, but yeah.
Yeah. So my house, it's got a second story. So what happened with my house is I went to buy a house. We lived in a townhouse for like 8 years, which I freaking loved. Yeah. It was 3,300 square feet. So it was a big townhouse, right? Yeah. But I was like, I can live here for freaking ever. I don't do yard work. Whatever, And then we started having kids and this was like, we need a yard for the kids, So I found this house and I went to it and the builder and the original owner who designed it with them, they had started suing each other.
Oh, jeez.
So he was just finishing the house and throwing it on the market. So I walked in there like 2 days after. He was actually in the house. And I kind of walked through around and I was looking at the master bedroom because I was like, or the master bathroom. They had like this massive double shower in there, right? So I was like, I'm going to go see what this looks like in real life and get some ideas. And as I'm walking out, I talked to him for a minute. I'm a pretty social guy, right? So I go to walk out of there and he goes, make me an offer on this thing. And I'm like, well, I don't know. And he goes, no, seriously, I want this thing gone. Make me an offer. I'm like, well, I'm going on a business trip. I'll bring my wife here tomorrow. So what's the garage code? He gave me the garage code. So I'll walk through the thing with my wife, and if she's down, we'll talk about it over the weekend, and then I'll make you an offer next week then, And that's exactly what I did. And I was actually on a business trip out in Indiana. We make a lot of our equipment out there. Yeah. And I was to dinner, and, sometimes these business dinners are just yapping about whatever, right? And I just thought, So I got this, I pulled out my text, and I said, I hope I don't want to offend you with this lowball offer, but I think your house is probably worth this. Boom. And he hit me back like that. He just, we started just negotiating down to the middle, right?
Perfect.
And I got down to where I was pretty comfortable with it. And I said, okay, cool. I said, I like that price, except I want you to knock 3% off because I'm representing myself as a real estate agent. And he just wrote back, done.
Perfect.
I was like, cool. So we ended up closing it pretty quick, and then we moved into this thing. And it was so funny because we moved into we lived in a townhouse before. Yeah. We had a couple windows really, but we always kept them down, people walking around. And my wife and I are sitting in there. We didn't have any furniture in our living room because we were going to get all new furniture, right? Sitting on these 2 chairs and we're like looking out this back window. It's just a wall of glass.
Yeah, I know where your view is.
And I'm like, oh, dang, the view here is like super nice. Like we never had even looked at the view.
You guys were probably just looking at finishes in the kitchen.
Yeah, and like the yard, like the functionality, and like all this stuff. And it's been really funny, like, going through the house now, because I'm like, because we have a second story. There's 3 bedrooms up there, master and the main. That's kind of the stuff we were looking for. And I'm like, dude, I would rather have had C-span the concrete in the basement, gotten rid of the top floor,
Yeah.
And like, just kind of like, you can just, you know what I mean? Design, you can see how the house could have been done a lot better. We have that front room, the home teacher room or whatever, right? No one ever goes in there, literally ever.
It's a wasted room.
Complete waste.
Yeah. No, and that's a one thing when we looked at this house, we were talking to the builder. We're like, we need you to move it 15 degrees to the left. Well, why? Because I don't want to see the neighbor's house out of my window in the living room. They're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. And it straightens up my driveway. So the long, tall garage, I can get a Sprinter van or a boat in.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we never even thought of that. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm asking you to do it. Yeah. And we did this double story, having the second story because we're literally on a cliff. Yeah. We view from Kennecott all the way north to wherever, to Farmington past there. So we view like the Great Salt Lake is like our view. Wow. It's a pretty cool view, but most people don't think about that. And, when I do design and when I was doing design with hotels and homes like that, we would do that a lot of times, throw a drone up. Hey, this is what it looks like from here. Yeah. This is what your views look like. Is
that part of the reason why you like the furniture business? Does it allow you to design?
Man, that's a whole nother story. I got into the furniture business because family was involved in it. And I came out to Park City to close the store down, and then I ended up buying it from the 3 investors that were in it.
Oh, really?
Bought it for $3.
Did you really get well on?
My ROI was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a crazy story.
I was going to say, you don't have that step up in basis there, though, right?
No, and I loved it. I mean, furniture it was a great business because people are happy when they come in to buy furniture. It's like, all right, we had to deal with some marital. Husband and wife stuff. I got pretty good with that, walking away when I, know when to walk away, but it's sales,
So during your business, when you were you there a lot?
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This wasn't like, I was pretty hands-on as far as that goes. I hated managing people. I hated dealing with a baby. I call it babysitting a lot of times. Now I wish what I know now I had back then, the tools, like going through Jimmy with this year and a half. Oh, I'd be a way better boss. Absolutely way better boss. I'd be more sympathetic. There would be so many. I go back, I was shaking my head kind of a deal because it's like I'd be a way better boss, knowing what I know now. Yeah. But I was there all the time. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I loved the buying of the furniture, the design, selling. I loved installing too. A lot of times customers wouldn't even know I was the owner. I'd be on the delivery truck with the guys. Yeah.
I've done that a few times in my life, but I always pretend I'm not the owner whenever I'm there in case they're grumpy with something. Right.
Yeah, of course. That's how it goes. You get to hear way more. The thing is, like, if I were to buy a business, I don't want to talk to the owner. I want to talk to the guy who's at the bottom.
Yeah.
I really don't care. The owner's going to give me fluff, right? Yeah. I want to talk to the delivery guy. I want to talk to the guy making the sandwiches. I want to talk to the guy doing the work. Yeah. That's where it's at. That's where you find out where all the problems are and what you could fix and solve and make things even better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's crazy how that works. So.
Yeah, it's. I'm actually going through a roll up right now with some of my businesses, and so we're really coming up with a valuation, and and it's interesting because I have a PE firm that's backing part of it, right, and then I'm backing the other half of it, right, and it's funny watching them. It's funny being on the same team, actually, right, because the questions they're asking, I'm like, you're not actually asking the right question. Go talk to that guy and ask him that.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, okay, and then they come back with a different perspective, right, and it's like, no, that. Bob over here, I don't have anyone named Bob, but it's like, he's a grumpy bro. He's not the guy to talk to.
He's not the one you want.
Yeah, he'll be grumpy about anything. You can give him a raise and he'll be like, oh, why? You know what I mean? It's just like, you got to kind of like really dig into like the things that matter inside this business. And I've acquired a couple companies over my time, and most of them have been small. Most of them owed me money. And so what I did is take their businesses from them and then turn them into sales agents, right? And it's been interesting looking at all those kind of small businesses too, and just seeing how people interact and how they do their books. And most small businesses just use Excel, right, to do their books. And I've always been kind of a Nazi when it comes to accounting because I like to know where the business is going.
Dude, accounting's where it's at.
Yeah.
We argue with our kids all the time, when they're in high school. I'm like, math is super important. No, it's not. You sell couches. Yeah, it's super important. How do you think I know how much I'm making, what the percentages are? Yeah. I go to the furniture business. It hasn't changed since I started. My gross and net are pretty well dialed in, at this point. Well, how do you know this? I'm like, it's called math. It's called accounting. Like, and that's what my daughter's like, with finance now is doing accounting. Yeah. Dad, it's kind of boring. I'm like, you need to know this.
It's not. When those numbers are real, it's really fun.
It's so fun. It's so fun. Well, and it's too is to minimize your taxes, right? Like it becomes even way more fun when you start to understand depreciation and how assets work and how depreciating assets work and where you can move money and stuff like. I mean, it's a game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Even being retired, it's a game.
Yeah.
Like how many rental units can I buy to get this amount of depreciation so that my dividend account over here I pay, even though I make this amount, I'm going to depreciate. I'm going to use the depreciation to offset this. Yeah. People are like, well, you think about this too much. I'm like, well, no, I'd like to keep what I make.
Right.
And I'm going to do it legally, but and that's where accounting is like, dude, I run my life on QuickBooks. Like my whole
do you?
Life,
still?
Yeah. I've got like four different, we'll call them companies, like S Corps and LLCs.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
That's how I run everything. Yeah. Like,
You should invoice your kids.
I should.
Whatever you give them $100, you like send them an invoice for a reimbursement back or something.
Yeah. Should invoice them for what it cost.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, it's awesome. No, kids are great.
So did you roll down to that big furniture store in Vegas every year?
The furniture market.
The market.
Yeah. So we go twice a year to that. So
isn't it like the World Market Center?
Yeah.
World Market Center.
Yeah, those 3 buildings are just for furniture and people don't get it. They're like, they're like, in North Carolina is even bigger. It's 10 times that size.
Oh, is it? I've actually heard that.
Yeah, at High Point, it's 10 times bigger. But the thing is, with furniture, you don't want to move your house. Same thing with the furniture companies. They don't want to move all their furniture. They can't move it in and out. It's not like a showroom at, Southtown Expo. I mean, we're making, I would go there and spend almost $500,000 on a weekend. Yeah. Because that's what I needed for samples on my floor. Yeah. And orders for clients and stuff like that.
Do they leave the furniture? Don't they leave the furniture like in place all year?
Kind of thing? Yeah. They'll move out what is discontinued or what they're not selling, and they'll move new stuff in. Yeah. But their showroom is set with their kitchens and stuff like that. Yeah.
For a couple shows a year, basically, right?
For 2 shows a year, for 2 weeks out of the year. And I would say even go back to, it's probably about 8 to 10 days out of the year.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, we go in, we do all of our purchasing, and then we leave.
My brother and I were going to get into the mattress business pretty heavy. Yeah. He picked up a client that was doing like foam pillows or something, right? Yeah. And so he went to China and, saw all those. It wasn't that long ago, but it was like, the foam roll, they vacuum them down and ship them all out. There's a guy in Vegas that moves like 10 containers of those a day. Yeah. And it's just wild how much business comes out of that. The furniture was a good business. Yeah. That's why I'm able to sit here with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah. Exactly. No, it was good. It's a clean business. I liked it. It was great. I mean, would I get back into it? Yeah, I know it inside and out, but I just don't, I've set myself up to where I've learned that time is valuable, right? You can go back and look at probably a post that I posted the other couple of weeks ago. Oh, it was my 5-year retirement anniversary, March 1st. And I was at a coffee with my daughter, right? I message her always on Sunday and say, what day are we meeting this week, right? Sometimes coffee, sometimes dinner. And I kind of just, time is something you can't buy. You can't buy it. Your health, you can't buy, right? Taking care of yourself is super important, but time, we have 168 hours in a week. What do you consume your week with? For me, I have from age 46 to the rest of my life to do what I want for 168 hours in a week. Yeah. Where I'm not stuck working owning a business, it's not 40-hour week. It's night times, it's early mornings, it's weekends, it's all that stuff. So time to me is so valuable. I would probably never go back into business just because it's just time consuming, right? And especially to do it right. Yeah. And take care of your employees. And it's so much responsibility, but. I was going to ask you that. So you're not tempted to jump back into a business? No. I don't know if there's enough money to do that. Jeremy and I were talking about that. He's like, you should get into, build your own home or do, home building. I'm like, no, I'm pretty good. I like the amount of rental units that I have. I'm always looking for more, cash flowing properties. But other than that, we're probably going to go to Powell 3 or 4 times this year. I'm in Italy tomorrow, taking my daughter to study abroad, Yeah. She's like, Dad, I don't need you to go. But then of course it was like, I need you to go. I was like, all right, cool, let's go. We're going to go to Rome for a couple of days. To me, that is what life is about. I don't think anyone
gets to the end of their life and say, oh, I wish I worked more.
Right.
I wish I would have worked more with this. I wish I would have. I wish I would have had more time. And that's where I've kind of designed my life backwards, is to say time is super important to me. And I get to go hang out on the guys' weekends, our mastermind weekends. I get to go hang out. I go in a couple days early, stay late, do that kind of stuff because I have the time. Go to lunch with the guys, spend a lot of time with my mom, and family and stuff like that. So for me, it's just time. If someone were to give you 1 week left of your life, I mean, would you, if I said, hey, how much for like 4 hours of your time? You'd be like, probably not for sale, right? Like, of course.
Yeah.
So, and that's how my life is now. It's like, I get to spend time with the family. I get to spend time doing what I want to do, tearing a house apart just for the hell of it, building it back up, right?
Right.
Riding my builder's butt, to get our house built straight, plumb and square, right? Like, level, plumb and square. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I think life is important, but it's also time is you just can't put a price on time.
Yeah, we talk in our group about it's the most important commodity.
Yeah.
Time.
Time.
It is. It's you can't buy it, you can't get it back, you can't trade it, you can't do anything with it.
You think about, you're saying you're going to be out of your businesses by 50, right? Mm-hmm. Then it's like, what are you going to do? I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out.
Oh, I have a plan.
Yeah. See, there you go.
It's actually not similar to yours.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be that dad, right? That's like, hey, I need to go to Italy. Let's go.
Let's go.
Like we'll make it happen, or I kind of like, there's a teacher inside of me a little bit too, where I like advising and I like helping people, with.
But you probably heard my name a lot in the group because all I do is share my gifts.
Yeah. You
want to sit down and talk about lunch? Let's go talk about something. Let's go talk about your real estate. Let's go. I'm going to be super conservative. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be a risky thing. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I can tell you what's happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to advise you, but you want to go through scenarios? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's put pen to paper. I have these gifts. And for me, having the time to share my gifts is awesome. Also, having time to go sit at Jerem's son's baseball game. It's worth it for me. I love it. I get to hang out with my bros.
And you get that freedom, right?
Total freedom.
So do you feel a lot more happy now that you're retired? Or are you able to maintain a pretty high level of happiness all through? It's just a different phase.
Different phase.
Okay.
I've been super happy. I can tell you that I'm a lot less stressed.
Right.
So happiness, always happy, but a lot less stress, a lot less Italian in me come out, Yeah. So I'm just much happier. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is people will say, oh, if you have $1 million in your checking account, would you be happier? Well, no, you would. I promise. You don't have a mortgage. You're going to be happier. You don't have credit card debt. You're going to be happier. I mean, you look at people who lose their homes in foreclosure or whatever. It's because they're unwilling to deal with the problem that's at hand. And that problem's not going to go away. Whether you drink or do drugs or whatever, that problem's there until you deal with it. I've always just been good at managing what's on my plate. I've been good at setting goals. I've been good at achieving them. If I want that Corvette, I just figure out a way to do it. If I want that boat, I figure out a way to do it. If I want whatever I wanted, I'm always able to get.
Yeah.
And that's just, so yeah, I'm happy. I'll tell you, freedom and being able to do what I want is pretty damn cool. And being able to take care of my family too. Being able to be there for my family. My wife says the same thing. She's always like, I'm so thankful for the life that you created. I'm like, because she always asks, what do you want? I'm like, I just be thankful for what we have. Like, be thankful for what we're able to give to others, and that's super key for me.
Yeah. My wife said similar things to me, and I've always said back to her, I'm like, just enjoy your life. You want to show me that you're grateful, then enjoy the life that we've built together.
Yeah. There's no reason to be upset. Like
complain.
I would never complain about the life I'm given, and I like to share my gifts. It's not a secret to get to where I'm at. Yeah. It's not a secret to being successful. I work my ass off. Like you said, how you're at the store. Yes, I was at the store. I'm always been working on investments. I've always been working on something. It's even now I'm always busy. Yeah. I'm not sitting at home watching TV. Hell, we have 4 weekends a year. We go get beat up with our men's group, right? Like, yeah. And then I'm traveling with them. I was Lake Powell, last year with some people in Europe. We're always doing something. Dinner tonight with Luke Wren because he's in town, right? Like, which is good. And I'm glad I have that freedom. But for people, it's just like, design your life the way you want to live. If you want to work till you're 70, awesome. That's great. That's the life you designed. Yeah. If you want to work till 50, great. Figure it out. But know from 50 to whenever your life ends, you have to be a good steward of what you created.
Yeah.
If you're a crappy steward now, you're going to be a crappy steward when you retire, and you're probably going to end up having to go back to work.
Yeah.
Because that's, my wife's like, sometimes she'll be like, what are you worried about? I'm like, well, we got all this nest egg here that I have to manage and take care of. Like, it's my responsibility, I don't put it on you, but it's my responsibility to make sure that, there's travel money, that we don't have to go back and get a job. Like, I do not want to do that.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
That would be horrible.
Especially if you're like 65 or something, right? Trying to re-enter the market.
Yeah, that would be a bad deal. I wouldn't know what to do at that point. So I'd probably, go and eat cat food or something. I'd figure it out.
So what's your next big goal?
Next big goal. We want to finish the house. I mean, just continue on what I'm doing. Continue on, get through this next year of the men's group. Yeah. We have lots of travel plans, the wife and I. Yeah. The biggest thing's the house. Our goal right now, like our only focus is this house. Because once we get it, then we got to finish the basement, finish the backyard, do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Finish the garage the way I want it. Garage will look like the inside of the house. She's like, you spent like a month designing your garage. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The goal is just managing investments, looking for more property. I think we're coming into a dark winter coming up. We've been saying it for a while. Yeah. For me, it's, I'll sitting on powder, ready to just kind of make some moves here and there, just in the real estate market. But, just for me, just spending more time with family and just kind of watching the grandkids and waiting for more to come.
I just enjoying life, really, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
We talked in one of our masterminds, one of our weekends with the men's group, and one of the guys in there has done very well, right? And he just said, I just don't know what my next big goal is, and it actually turned the whole mastermind into that, right?
Yeah.
And so you've always got to be progressing, yeah. Right? And I actually kind of took an alternate view. I was like, guys, you got to figure out where you're good at, right? If you're good at, if you want to put a number on it, say $50 million, you feel secure, you have enough income, whatever that number is in your head, you got to figure that out. And then when you get there, your job is to enjoy it.
Of course.
Right? It's not to go, well, I made 50, now I need to make 60, now I need to make 100. You know what I mean? Like you're getting off the point. The reason why we're in this men's group is to have that balance.
Correct.
Right? Between family and you and business and whatever you have going on, right? You need to balance that all out. And when you get to that spot, enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm at that. I'm the oldest one in both of our groups.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, at 51. Yeah, I'm the oldest one. So I'm at that cruising. It's not buying a new restaurant. I'm not buying a new business. I know where my lane is, right? And so goal wise, just little things, get the house done, and then travel. Whatever the wife's next bucket list. I think it's either we did Greece, but I think is like Bali, Thailand, something over in that area. That's probably the next part of the world we want to explore. Yeah. I told her for sure, probably this January be Australia, New Zealand, when it's their summer, our winter here.
Oh, cool.
So do something like that.
That'll be a fun one. Where's your favorite place you've been?
Bora Bora.
Okay.
So when we came back, I actually looked at buying an island out there.
Oh, how much?
And I was so close to pulling the trigger, and then the first grandbaby comes out. Well, that's ruined everything. Mama Heidi is not being away from could not be that far away from a grandbaby. She's from Hawaii, so having our own little island, setting it up the way we wanted to, building everything I was set. This is great. My catamaran out in front of the island. This is exactly what I want. Yeah. She's like, well, how often can I get home? I'm like, well, I don't know. It's a long way to get from the South Pacific back up to the U.S. It's a hike and a half. So, but Bora Bora is our favorite place we've been. It's probably the only one we'll go back to. We try not to go back.
Check them off the list.
Yeah. It's not like, like we were just in Florence, but I got to go back because Ava's going there and I'm going to take her to Rome. So it's a different experience with a kid. But for Heidi and I think it's just, we just like to go explore, like to go see different things, and that's,
have you done Iceland?
No, it's on our list, but we're going to do it during the warmer time.
Sure.
You guys do it.
Ours wasn't, honestly, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It was, It can get colder there. Yeah. Where did we go? Was it like November?
Yeah, it was during the short days and stuff like that.
We were trying to see the
Northern Lights,
which we saw the very first night. Yeah. It was wild. We're literally standing in the parking lot of the hostel or whatever you want to call that thing, right?
Yeah.
And we see them all, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's amazing!" We took some pictures, and it's like, "Okay, we'll see them again. Like, we'll really see them, right?"
Yeah.
Because we went on like a 4x4 ride up there, saw nothing.
Yeah.
Got on a boat to go out to the ocean to see them, which is supposed to be the best. Boat broke down.
Dude, right? Is that how life works, right?
Oh, it's crazy. So I brought my wife up. So I was actually there for 10 days.
Yeah.
So they all went home after 5. She flew home there the day that they all left, right? Then I took there for 5 days. She didn't even see him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And it's like, this is crazy. Because you look at the pictures.
Here. You were supposed to be able to see him last night or something here in Utah.
I heard that, but
you got to get out to like Park City out where there's no real lights. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But no, it's on our list.
It's worth it.
Yeah. We just keep plucking away.
To me, it's one of those places you got to check off your list too. Like once you go there, you got to do these things, right? So the Blue Lagoon, you'll end up going to the Blue Lagoon, but go to the private side. It's like $100 more. It's like,
that's how we do our travels. It was funny. We booked the cruise last year, and we did the first class area. There's private area Haven, and so I'm talking to the lady. I'm like, "Oh, you got the 2-bedroom." She's like, "Well, you just 2 of you don't need a 2-bedroom." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." She's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, I don't want the 1-bedroom. I want the 2-bedroom with the living room. Yeah. And she's like, but this one's less expensive. I'm like, no, I like my own bathroom. I like my own closet. My wife will take over the entire closet of the other one. I've already mapped out your rooms. I want the couch because I wake up early and like, this is what I want. Like, stop trying to downsell me this thing.
Yeah, why am I arguing with you?
Like, we're doing this cruise once. Like, this is it. Like, I want your best. Like, I want your private everything. Yeah. Like, that's how it goes.
That's funny. It's funny when you're in those situations. You're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. We didn't do any of those excursions. We'd get off the boat, hire a guy, and that was our guy for the whole day. I'm like, what is it for the entire day?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Show me your country. Yeah. Show me your city. Like, let's go. Yeah. That's how it was. It was awesome. And we had the best time.
Are you guys going to come on the couples trip in January?
No. That's my birthday. I think we're going to be down in Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be over that. Yeah, you just mentioned that. Cool.
We like those trips because we have the couples trip for our group next month in Cancun.
Oh, cool.
Jimmy's because we're on relationships in our module right now. So.
Oh, right. We're doing that same thing in Cabo, but 6 months later.
Yeah, 6 months later. Yeah, you guys will do it a little bit later than us. We're doing it in Cancun. So yeah. The couples trips have just kind of, they've just, the like October, the Machu Picchu, we're going to be over in Lanai for a whole month. We're taking a whole month and we're bringing over the kids over to Hawaii for a couple of weeks each kid, grandkid. So we're doing that. So I'm going to miss the trip to Machu Picchu. So, but yeah, we
the bulls,
huh?
Bulls?
Not sure because we're finishing the house. I told Jimmy it'd be a last minute game decision. Oh, okay. The home's supposed to be done July 31st, and the way they've been building it, I kind of need to be there. Yeah. I kind of need to be there. So we'll see. Yeah. If it is, it'll be kind of a last minute thing. So.
Oh, cool. Hopefully you make it. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be super fun. It's gonna be a lot of people. I think 80 people or something like that.
Yes, yeah, between 70 and 80.
It's a good group. It's a tour bus group this time. So.
Yeah, I know. I tried to rent my own car with a couple guys, right? We'll just follow you guys. And Jimmy's like, no, you got to get in the bus with us. And I'm like, okay, I will obey.
Now, wait a second. Didn't you rent a car in Iceland?
We did. We rented a bunch of cars in Iceland.
No, but afterwards.
Yeah.
With your wife.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a problem?
Yeah. I put the wrong gas in it.
I heard about that. Like diesel or gas diesel. Like.
So their diesel over there is black.
Yeah.
And their normal gas is green, which is the opposite of here. Here's the real issue. I was in like a Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't realize it was a diesel car. Right, which is really stupid. I drive a diesel truck, you know. I mean, it's like,
you know how this works.
Yeah, and it's so funny. So I filled it up twice. No, once. So this is the second time I was filling up on the way to the airport. Right, that's funny. Yeah, I saw that. I'm literally like holding the gas thing, and I'm like arguing with myself before I like pick which one. I'm like, no, it's black. No, this is right. I'm like, yeah, you know. Right. And I just start filling the thing up. Right, just eventually got to make a decision. Right. And so we drive out of the Reykjavik, right? We get on the freeway, dude. And my wife's like, this thing's running funny. I'm like, what? I don't think it is, you know? And dude, all of a sudden it's all, and I was like, no freaking way. I just pulled over. But honestly, that cost me $125.
Oh, because of insurance?
No, they just took it. I just had to pay the guy to tow it. So I called them up. It was like budget.
They must have it happen all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's what they said to me. Yeah, stuff happens all the time. I'll send Sven out there or whatever, right? So and the only thing that made me nervous is we were out there long enough that it started getting cold.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, in fact, it was so cold, I had to pee, right? It's kind of a irreverent, funny story. And I'm like, hey, I got to get out and pee. And my wife's like, I have to pee. And I'm like, well, then get out and pee. But it was on the freeway.
Yeah,
right? So those cars just flying past us. And she's like, no, I can't do that. I'll expose myself, whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. And I get out of the car, go out there and do it. Then I'm looking out of the window and she's staring at me, just like give me the look of death. And I was just like,
sorry, this is what we get to being a man.
Yeah, two of us don't need to suffer. You can suffer as much as you want. So I posted on Instagram just like, hey, I'm an idiot.
I was always worried about the race across America with our Sprinter van being diesel, that someone would screw it up.
Yeah.
Because you hit like as you get towards the East Coast, they have those, I forget what it is. There's a gas station that they're all green handles. Like people get confused, you know, when you're especially moving across the country.
I think BP had that problem for a
that's
while.
It.
Yeah, because BP is part of the color is green.
Green, so all the handles are green.
Yeah.
So like we were very, very clear and no biodiesel, run diesel.
Yeah.
Like this is not especially in California, they have that biodiesel crap. And it's like, no. The van will not run on that stuff. It's got to be very specific.
I'll tell you a funny story I had in California, right? So did you ever use Turo?
I have once in Hawaii.
Okay, so you know what it is though, right?
Yeah.
So I'm down there. It was for the March Madness tournament at the Chase Center, right? Last year, not this one, that was just barely. And I had a field measure to do up in Sacramento, right? So I'm like, I'll just get on Turo and rent a car, right? So I just get a Honda whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, guy drops it off at 8:00 in the morning. I was going to have it back to him by 2:00, right?
Yeah.
And so I get in the car. You know, he goes to my hotel, gets out of it, shows it to me, right? I get into it, and I'm like, this thing's weird looking. Like the gauges were weird, and like a picture of the car, you know, but it was all digital. And I was like, whatever, it's just some new, Japanese inspired car, right? Whatever. I go busting up there, go to the job site, do the field measure, and like the gas is getting low. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I pull into this gas station, I pop the thing open, and I'm staring at the end of a propane tank.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
is it NG?
The hell is this? It was hydrogen.
And he didn't tell you?
No. Now, it was wild, right? So then I like go to the Turo thing and I'm like, okay, this has to be my fault at some level. And I'm reading through this thing. Doesn't say anything about it being hydrogen. So then I like call him, right? And I'm like, hey, I am like in nowhere. And he goes, oh, there's a map. Just click this map, right? So he sends me a link to this map. California is the only state that does this, right? And there's like 20 places. 9 are in service. 11 are out of service. They're out of service all the time. And I'm like, I literally had 42 miles left to go, and it's 45 miles away. So I went through the emotions. I went through grief. I went through anger. I went through sadness, and then went right back to anger. And I'm like, this is so stupid. And then I went back to, well, whatever. If this thing breaks down, I'm going to freaking get an Uber and pin the location for you, homeboy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I end up making it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure it's on fumes. It's the weirdest gas thing. It's like this big long stick, and they like put it on and it sucks in. And
yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah. The guy fills it up. Right. And he goes, you're a lucky guy. I go, what do you mean? He goes, this thing was broken down this morning. They just got it working at like 11 a.m. And I was like, wow. Yeah. So then I drive the thing back down to the guy, and he was an Asian guy, right? Which is pretty common in San Francisco. And I'm talking to him, and I go, bro, you got to let people know that this is a hydrogen car. And he just like looked at me like blank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, anyways, here you go. Here's your car back, right? And I just remember thinking, I'm like, dude, if I had a hydrogen car and I was renting it to people and I was handing them the keys personally, I'd be like, hey, you see this? It's going to be filled up in a hydrogen location.
Yep.
But
that's how it goes. Yeah.
Whatever.
That's how the EV cars are now, man. Half the chargers work, half of them don't.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. I haven't got into that yet. I'm actually on the list for a Cybertruck.
There you go. But, we love our Tesla. It's great.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah. It's great for around the neighborhood. Great for anything. But I drove it to St. George. I mean, it worked great, but.
Did you make it all the way? Did you have to stop?
No, I stopped.
Like in Beaver or something, right?
Yeah. Wherever it is there, halfway down. Yeah. Nephi or something. Which is great, though. Auto drive works awesome. I got to St. George. I was like, man, I feel refreshed. Like I didn't have to stress. It just drove.
I'll tell you, the auto drive thing, I hope is allowed, like the full on one eventually, right? Because I thought it'd be really cool. Like
I don't trust the full on. I trust the one that
you're standing there.
Yeah, that we sit there with the, you put your hand on the steering wheel, but it doesn't make lane changes or do anything like that. Oh. Just stays in the lane.
So the full auto would be, it seems interesting to me, right? Because if I'm going to San Diego and I got to be there the next morning, right? It's like, well, I could just leave at 10 o'clock at night, sleep the whole way down.
Yeah, that's
or relax the whole way down, right? Do whatever.
See, but going to San Diego doesn't work. They just don't have the distance.
Yeah.
You just can't. They won't go as far. I mean, hell, the Ford Lightning is having nothing but issues because they didn't go as far as Ford advertised, It doesn't work. It doesn't work like people think. It's a golf cart. It's a golf cart. Let's just get this straight. It is an electric golf cart with a body on it, right? Yeah. That's it. I'm a car guy. They're great. They're fantastic for going to get groceries. So your wife doesn't have to go to the gas station. She just comes back in, plugs it in. It's awesome. No brakes, no oil, no transmission, no problems other than the curbs that somehow hit my wife's wheels. I don't know how it happens, but they happen, right? But long distance, like from here to San Diego, it'd be a pain in the neck.
Yeah, because you have to stop at time, right?
Yeah, and you don't get to stop when you want to stop. You get to stop when the car tells you you're going to need to stop.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's a planned kind of, it's a different way to travel, that's for sure.
So what's your other vehicle you guys have? I
have a TRX.
Oh, okay.
So we have a great 120 mile to, gallon or whatever they, say, and then I've got my 12 mile to the gallon. So yeah.
Yeah,
so that's yin and yang.
I've been driving a truck for a long time, and I just can't see myself going back to not driving a truck. They're so nice.
Every time I get out of a truck, I get right back into it.
Yeah,
I had a Defender before this, and it was like, oh, this is great. And then I was like, I need a pickup truck.
Yeah,
I need a pickup truck.
Because every now and again, you just got to put stuff in the back,
Yeah, you're always well, especially with homes and new construction and flips and stuff like that. I'm always running to Home Depot for something, tile store.
Sometimes just for fun.
Just for fun. Just go there to say, hey.
Just see what the new Makita tool is or the new Milwaukee something.
Something, yeah, for sure. So,
that happens to me almost every time I go to Home Depot. I always end up in the tool section like, I don't have one of these.
Dude, that's what tearing that house apart, the wife would come up, she'd be like, is that a new tool? I'm like, yes. That's a new tile saw. That's a new radial arm saw. Like, yeah. Like, I need a new table saw. Like, yeah, I needed a whole bunch of new stuff. New drills. You need a drill. I needed a drill. Like, she'd be like, geez. I'm like, it's less expensive than hiring someone. I promise you.
That's true.
I promise you.
That's very true.
Yeah. I got everything for plumbing, tile, whatever you need. I got it. Like, I figured it out. If not,
So how many flips are you doing a year?
We were doing a couple, and then now not much. So.
Oh, just slow it down.
Right now, with the way the market is, again, that goes to the risk.
Yeah.
If it's high risk, I don't need to make the money. So.
Right.
So if foreclosure or something show up, I'll do it. But if not, we're kind of focused on the house right now, and then we'll kind of put a moratorium on it for 6 to 9 months.
Well, and plus the thing too, you have to buy right.
Yeah,
and that's really
it's all
key.
in the buy.
A lot of people, they think they make the money up on the remodel, right? And it's like, no, dude, it's all in the buy.
No, it's all in the buy, and we know, and so. Since we don't have expenses, it's easy to just say, all right, we'll hold off on that right now.
Yeah.
And we'll wait. And if there's a good foreclosure, if there's a good deal, I look at deals all the time. And if there's something good, then I'll buy it. If not, no.
Yeah, we'll see.
I can't get in and out of it, that kind of stuff. I've stopped all hard money loans. I've stopped all that stuff, just kind of waiting.
Oh, even the hard money, huh?
Yeah, I won't even do any hard money loans right now. Nah, there's like when I say conservative risk, like I do not like losing money. And I think, personally, we're in for something's going to happen, especially with the debt ceiling in the next couple of weeks. Dude, their high credit card usage. I mean, it's just, there's something is going to happen. I mean, you look at medium income, 20 years ago to median income now, it's gone up 10%, but home prices are up 300%. Yeah. Like, who can keep affording this?
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting and it's insanely hard to predict.
It is. There's no prediction. No one, you got your people, your people on the right saying, oh my God, the world's going to end. You got people on the left going, oh, we need more money. And it's like, all right. And the government just keeps printing it and so on and so forth. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast. But, we're just super conservative and super safe, and we'll just kind of hold off for a little bit right now. And then if there is opportunity, then we'll definitely pounce on it for sure.
No, I'm with you. I'm sitting on more cash than I ever have because I'm kind of like.
And then everyone says, you're losing to inflation. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. True.
My financial advisor and I because I keep a certain percent in that. And I said, all right, we're going to 80% cash. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this is what I see. Well, I don't know if I see it that way. I'm glad. But in 6 months, we'll reevaluate and we'll have a conversation. I go, no one will be right.
Yeah.
I said, interest rates are good in the bank. They're okay, you know, but yeah, no one's going to be right. And no one's going to be wrong. We're okay.
Yeah. I like that. I actually like that attitude. It's actually really good advice for people, right? Because well, my CPA said this. He's like, he's an advisor.
Yeah.
Well, my attorney said this. He's an advisor. You're still in control.
It's my money.
Yeah.
I'm still in control. When I tell you to pull it, move it, that's how you do it. And that's because I get to sleep well at night. Yeah. I have my Swan account. I sleep well at night. Everything's good. Yeah. And if the world does take a crap, great. If it doesn't, even better. Yeah. Fantastic. But if it does, then hey, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
That's how it works.
Well, Mike, we're at the end of the podcast, hour and a half. Can you believe it?
Dude, that went by fast, man.
It did.
Awesome.
I always ask my guests for their best 2 minutes of advice at the end.
2 minutes of advice. Yeah. I'd probably give you the same thing I would give our kids is live within your means. Always save 10% and invest another 10%. You know, have enough in savings to last yourself 6 months. If you know, the worst case scenario happened, you know, family members in the hospital, you got to take care of them. You've got to quit your job or you lose your job. Live your best life, all out, play all out, all out, all the time. Be a good person and give back, you know, as much as you've been given. That's kind of where I'm at, man. And dude, just be a good person.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'll tell you too, not to add on, but I'm going to, I guess, but like,
of course you are.
Being a good person, right? It's like, it's so important.
Super important.
People have a million different ways of saying this, right? But really it's karma.
Yeah.
Karma is just that thing where it's like, the more people you're good to, life just becomes good.
Dude, it's like the gate agent. They're not the ones, you know, you're flying, the gate agent's not the one that's delaying the aircraft. Yeah. They're just a friggin' messenger. Yeah. Sally, I'm sorry you're having to deal with. How can we handle this situation? People just go berserk over someone who's not in charge of something, man. Just be a good person. Yeah. Be a good person to everyone.
It's kind of like forgiveness, right?
Of course.
Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person.
Right.
So have you free that out of you.
Yeah. It's gotten me well. Being a good person has helped me through life. So,
well, thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast, man. I'm excited to get to know you more and more.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.